Hey guys, hope everyone had a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
So yeah, we had a good New Year's too. We just hung out at the house, had some family over, and then we live right off of the freeway, so we just watched the fireworks right off of our lanai over here. And the fireworks here in Hawaii are crazy. Like,
Yeah.
there's like all the crazy, like illegal aerial stuff. Just you can just see fireworks going off as far as the eye can see. It's
Mm-hmm.
crazy.
Yeah, so sorry to leave you guys hanging, not letting you know about our embryo fertilization report.
Yeah, so from our last video, if you remember, we had that heartbreaking news of finding out that we only had the one embryo to go off of. But, I wish we could have this storybook ending and say that that one little embryo that could made it, but unfortunately it only made it to day 4. So we just had a hard time dealing with it, That's why we've kind of been silent on the internet and everything. We haven't really been posting much or updating on the IVF just because we kind of had to have time to deal with everything and kind of process it and
Figure out how we're gonna go forward with everything.
it was just a hard time for us.
Yeah.
And at the same time, like, I was working graveyard shifts and Keisha was going through her IVF and everything, and I just felt bad, like I couldn't be there. I would get off early in the morning and Keisha would be going to work, and then when she would come home from work I'd be sleeping and then I'd go back to work, so we hardly saw each other too, so it was kind of a hard time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And just finding out I only had one embryo, that was just like so heartbreaking.
So it's easy to say that we can move forward and just, be happy that we're not having a biological child together. But, people don't know until you're actually in our own shoes.
It's easy to say, like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
you'll love the child no matter what.
Yeah.
But when the time finally happened where, I found out that I'm not gonna have a biological child, it just was, man, it was really hard for me, like, you always kind of think in your relationship, oh, when we have kids, like, oh my gosh, it's gonna look like you, or which parent does it look like? It looks
Yeah.
more like it has your nose, it has your eyes, it has your traits and personality. But then once we found out that our embryo didn't make it, it was just like, oh, so heartbreaking. And I had to kind of reprocess in my mind that we were going to have to just utilize the embryos with the donor sperm, which I thought that I was going to be okay with, but I got the news that my embryo didn't make it. It was just so hard to deal with.
Yeah. Yep. Cancer sucks.
Yeah.
So does infertility.
Yeah, so it just sucks. Like, unfortunately, I was unlucky enough to have had to deal with cancer, and then in my adulthood had to deal with the repercussions of the treatment of that and have to deal with the infertility, and then now to find out that we've been saving that sperm all this time and finding out that they were not good quality. It made me like question a lot of things, like, why didn't we do the sperm sample, like freeze the sample prior to the chemo? And yeah, it was just a hard month to deal with everything. Like, what is my family gonna think? What are my friends gonna think?
Yeah.
What is
a lot of questions running in your mind. Like, will our family treat them as if they were really their grandchild, like biological, or yeah. But in the end, our family supports us. We've told them we're gonna do this no matter what. And I know it may seem like we're ungrateful or like we're complaining, but we're very grateful that we have those 7 embryos left.
Yeah, so we do have 7 embryos. We forgot to tell you. We have 7 embryos that made it all the way to day 5 and 6, actually, and they're all like really good quality.
Yeah, really good quality. But in the end, that doesn't matter because our doctor told us they can be graded like AB or AA. But when that day comes, when they actually unfreeze it, right? It could change. The quality can change. So the grades don't matter.
And then we also can't see genetically if they're good embryos. They just look good under a microscope. But Yeah, so we didn't end up doing the PGD and PGS
Yeah.
testing for that because obviously it's not my genes, so we can't do, is it PGS?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I don't think we told you guys, we were originally doing PGD, PGS, with mine and June's, or if we were to have a biological child, just because we both tested positive for that, we were both carriers for the familial Mediterranean fever.
So yeah.
So insurance, or not insurance, but the company said it would have been covered 100% for us to get that testing done. But now that we're dealing with donor sperm, it's not going to be covered. So we don't have 5,000
Yeah, I think
to
it was like
spend.
over $5,000
Yeah.
for, I think, just a couple embryos to be
Yeah.
tested.
So we're just
yeah.
gonna just go for it.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're just gonna implant an embryo and pray for the best.
And if it doesn't happen, we'll go ahead and do another transfer. We'll have those
6 other embryos to try with.
Yep. So, and then I wouldn't have to go through stims again.
Yeah.
I mean, I would still have to take some medication, but at least I'd bypass the stims.
And having to deal with the hormone stuff and all that.
Yeah. But we're happy with our decision. And going forward. Yeah.
It took me a while to come to terms with trying to fathom that it's not going to be my child biologically, but I know in the end I'm going to love the child unconditionally regardless of its genetic or not, and that's our ultimate goal, is just to become parents. So
So I'm currently on estrase. Our transfer is coming up in 2 weeks. Well, actually originally it was supposed to be next week, but my period came later than expected, and which works out because I got really sick from the flu. So
I was sick first, like 2 weeks ago, for like a week. And I must have passed it on to Keisha.
And it was horrible.
Yeah, it was bad.
I don't think I've ever gone through that since I was like in high school. It was so bad.
Stomach pains, vomiting, stuff coming out from both ends, if you know what I'm saying. Yeah.
And I've heard people saying there's like so many deaths this year from like flu.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I work at the trauma center here, and there's like such a high instance of flu going on right now. Like so many people have the flu, so it's kind of crazy.
Yep. So our transfer is coming up on supposedly on the 24th if things go well. Since I got my period just recently, they have to start over and we have to thicken the lining again. So I'm taking estrase, and then we're gonna go on with progesterone sometime next week. And also I think
and the pomegranate juice,
endometrin is another medication, and doxycycline and Medrol are the other ones, and then palm juice, right, to thicken the lining.
That's what they say anyway.
Yeah, that's what they say. We'll see.
Yeah, so we're gonna do everything that we can in our power to make sure that this embryo transfer works.
And what else? Oh, and we also wanted to congratulate the Ellie and Jared winners, grant winners.
Yeah, so if you guys aren't following Ellie and Jared or been keeping up with that, they had another grant giveaway, and there were 4 people that actually got grants this year. So that's great, especially good time around the holidays to find out such good news. I know when we found out, we were just like, we were like so depressed at the time from having that failed IVF that year, and then finding out around Christmas time that we got an IVF grant, and after years and years of applying to different grants and stuff like that,
that was like the greatest feeling.
Yeah, to find out we had another chance of doing IVF, and here we are. So
yes. Anything else?
Not really. We've got a couple videos planned. We did a video a few months ago at the infertility clinic, just doing like a tour and a Q&A with the doctor. We'll probably put that up, and maybe a Christmas vlog. I know it's old now, but I have like so many old vlogs. We went to Maui during October for Keisha's birthday, and I haven't put any of those videos up, but
so we gotta work on those, put those up. And yeah, so if you want to continue following our journey, just hit that subscribe button and just follow us. And you know, when I do my 2-week wait, I'm not going to be working during that time, so gotta pump out more videos. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Love you, hon. We're doing it, guys.
2
Embryo
weeks.
transfer is coming up. Bye.
Bye.